they are trying to join the club now. Even there is 70 countries in the world, the whole world, they do have reactors, but they don't have nuclear weapons. But in my opinion, they cannot solve the problem only by signing between Russia and America. Of course, Russia is very interested to minimize the number of reactors and to minimize the number of the nuclear warhead,
yes,
because it's very expensive and it's heavy for its economy. But we have to look to the whole world. If you ask me about the solution, there are many solutions to minimize and to finish, to arrive to a time that there is no threat, there is no nuclear warhead, there is no nuclear weapons in this world. As you know, in 1986, Gorbachev and Reagan, they did sign a treaty. But the problem is not also only to sign the treaty, is the mechanism how to apply this, how to have it concrete on the land. And I think the International Atomic Energy Agency is trying to do the job, but doesn't have power enough, as we saw in the last few years as an experience. The problem, the nuclear problem in this world is a matter of controversy, and it's a matter of selection. That, for example, for the first time, 2 months ago, the Under-Secretary of Foreign Affairs of United States invite Israel and Iran to sign the Non-Proliferation Treaty. What it does mean? That the first time that United States is moving toward Israel to tell Israel, you do have nuclear weapons and you have to sign this treaty. And Israel did not reply. And as you know, Iran now, the problem of Iran is everybody is focusing on the reactors of Iran. We do estimate that in the whole world we have 1,000 reactors dispersed in 70 countries, but not all those countries are using those reactors for military purposes. Observers believe that only 9 countries, as I mentioned, they do have these nuclear weapons.
Right.
In my also, I think the United Nations now did not show that it's powerful enough, because as you know, the International Agency for Atomic Energy is related to the United Nations, even it's independent. But United Nations did not show that it's powerful enough to minimize or to control nuclear weapons and nuclear reactors in this world. As you know, after the collapse of Soviet Union, some countries like Ukraine and White Russia, they did deliver their weapons to Russia. But doesn't mean that the black market didn't have this, because many countries, they use the black market to bring mass destruction weapons, including the nuclear weapons. And if you talk about nuclear weapons and to minimize it, to destroy it or whatever, why don't we talk to biological and chemical, which all of the three present mass destruction weapons and a threat to the whole world.
You're absolutely right regarding that. I mean, we do totally agree. But there's a whole issue going on, and let me direct this question to you, Mr. Ilich. Upon, let's say, owning nuclear weapons, as well upon having nuclear weapons in peaceful uses, President Barack Obama, is he trying to eliminate or minimize the amount of countries, or the number of countries that do own nuclear weapons, or he's just trying to make it all peaceful, let's say, the usage of nuclear weapons? If we point out Iran, is it possible for Iran just to take away all the nuclear weapon projects that they've got and just turn it to the peaceful process that they are claiming to have right now?
First, if I might mention to the moderator, I haven't been able to hear Mr. Hesham from Beirut, so I hope I don't either repeat or contradict or go off on a tangent. But let me answer your question. The situation is that the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, which came into force in 1970 and has been in force for 39 years with 189 countries signing it, has a component part which says that the nuclear powers, those that are the foremost powers in terms of nuclear energy, will basically facilitate the use of peaceful nuclear energy amongst those countries that agree not to go forward and seek nuclear weapons.
Yes.
And indeed, there has been a certain amount of cooperation from the major nuclear powers, including the U.S., which actually started with the Iranians back in the time of the Shah in 1950s, cooperating under the Atoms for Peace program with the goal of creating nuclear reactors for electrical power generation in Iran, not for nuclear weapons, of course. It's since the 1979, the fall of the Shah and the start of the Islamic Republic, when the Iranian government, the Islamic Republic, has said basically it doesn't want foreign involvement, and it's not been straightforward about the use of safeguards on its peaceful nuclear program. It's played a cat and mouse game with the International Atomic Energy Agency, saying sometimes yes, you can have access, sometimes no, and of course denying access to some facilities. There are, I think, about 16 different facilities around Iran. So it's created a certain amount of suspicion that something's going on that is not transparent and is not open to the eye to see. Then, of course, when you look into nuclear power generation for peaceful purposes, you come to understand that using uranium or plutonium, you don't need highly enriched versions of uranium. Particularly, you only need low enriched uranium in order to generate electrical power, and that low enriched uranium can either be bought on the open market or you can create it internally from uranium, which the Iranians have in terms of mine, and uranium ore, if you like. You can take centrifuges and purify the grade of the uranium up to 5% or 4% or 6%. But what the Iranians have done is basically taken and gone way beyond the needs of nuclear power for, at the outset, a single nuclear power station down in Bashir on the Arabian Gulf. What they've done is actually buy upwards to 7,000 centrifuges, and they're keeping them going essentially all day long and announcing with great pride how many they have and the work that these centrifuges are doing. That tells the world, in effect, that they're going for highly enriched uranium, which is, of course, the stuff of nuclear weapons. And that's one of the reasons that the world is so suspicious. And even though the Iranians say over and over and over again that their program is for peaceful purposes, the lack of transparency and the enrichment process that's going on with those 7,000 centrifuges is making the world extremely suspicious, if not completely convinced that this is, in fact, a weapons program.
Mr. Leach, thank you very much. And that finalizes the first part of our episode for today. There's the second part. But before we go to that, let me first thank my guest from Beirut, Mr. Hisham Jabir, who is head of the Middle East Center for Studies in Public Relations. Thank you very much, sir, for being with us. And now, dear viewers, we go with a short break. After the break, we'll do the second part of Political Agenda. And welcome back, dear viewers. In the second part today, we're going to be talking about Muslims in China, the whole crisis that's going on right now in China, the violence that is escalating right there. So we will be joined with soon, inshallah, a guest from Cairo. We do have a report with us. So, I mean, apparently, when the world is closely watching the whole